Alright, so let me get started with a new sketch that is based off of an object, namely this object here. As you can see, it is a soap dispenser, and if you saw one of my previous posts, I already did a couple of preliminary sketches, which are these, combined with some sketches from my girlfriend. As you can see, I really wanted to transform this because it's not such an interesting shape. I mean, it is a cool shape, but I wanted to do some, not asymmetric, but a weird sort of spaceship. I really like those designs. So I decided to go for sort of a service, not drone, but a mini craft.
Alright, so how do I start all my drawings? With a little bit of pre-sketching, and also this time around I did it with a Copic marker which has a very low opacity. And it's not a Copic marker but a Prisma marker in this case, but yeah, it doesn't matter what you use in the end as long as it gets the job done. I sped up the video here in the beginning because it's not really that visible, and it's not super fascinating to see in the end, but soon it's going to slow down a little bit, and this time around I went with 3 times speed, so you should be really able to see all my brush strokes. So these series, well, it's not series, I don't do them that often, but these drawings are really fun, where you just take an everyday object and you try to transform it into a spaceship in this case. But yeah, you could also see a video of mine not so long ago, and I just really enjoy these because they sort of force you to be creative, even if you're in sort of a creative lump. Not lump, what's the word? Oh, anyways, doesn't matter. But if you're not that creative, this can help you really come up with new ideas and just see things that you would have seen or you would have not seen otherwise, really see them from a different point of view. So as you can see, the soap dispenser that I took was a relatively simple shape. Also the good point here is like try and keep and stay as close to that shape as possible and yet make it interesting. So what I follow Space Goose on Instagram, and he does this quite often, and he really makes marvelous job with these transformations. But he also just decorates his objects and ships sometimes really well. So if he takes a shape from real life, like I think his latest drawing was a champagne bottle, so he really keeps the champagne bottle, but he puts a lot of flaps and a lot of all sorts of exhaust vents and whatnot onto the spaceship that he designed. So I'm usually not that fantastic with those. So I found this to be a great exercise. Obviously, I was also looking at some of his stuff to just get inspiration, because it's really, really fun to see that. So what am I going for here? Basically, it is, imagine like a space dinghy, but it is also a repair craft. So like take R2-D2 and the small ship and put it together. So it's like a not maneuverable, but R2-D2 that has a person in it. And I just wanted to make it a little bit bigger, and also it reminded me the influence a little bit of those diving bells that you had in the past, where you just push them, let them sink to the bottom of the ocean so people can do stuff there. So I thought, oh, that's really cool, because that's not something that is fantastically maneuverable, but in a space you don't, I mean, not that you don't need maneuverability, but a big shape like that should fit quite well. And then I just took the part of the soap dispenser where the actual soap comes out, and transformed that into a robotic arm. And it's sort of like the arm that we had in the past on the space shuttles, where you had all the electronics and all the motors inside of the arm. So all the actuators were in there, so it can be thin and it can move around quite flexibly and nimbly. And I also wanted to put the exhausts on the bottom of this craft, because I thought, well, since it is already not aerodynamic at all, which also you don't need aerodynamic designs in space, but then make it even a little bit sillier looking, almost like an old school those space shuttles that, no, not a space shuttle, but a spacecraft that was on the top of the rocket that detached and then landed on the moon, for example. They had these smaller exhausts as well, which is also interesting because usually spacecrafts all designed super aerodynamically so they look cool and whatnot. But technically, you really don't need those aerodynamic looks for spacecraft like these, because in space you don't really have atmosphere that will slow you down and that will cause drag. So yeah, that's why I really like the Expanse universe, the books and the TV series as well, because they really have these big bulky ships. Also, like these ships, like if you think about it, they are all constructed in the outer atmosphere, so there is no need. They couldn't also come into, well, they couldn't come onto the planet. They're not designed to land on planets, so they are just live and exist within outer space. So yeah, I also drew, later I remember that if I want to evoke a little bit of sense of form follows function, it would be also smart to put some counter exhausts on top of the craft, because otherwise how is it going to change directions and stop? I also tried to step a little bit away from a fully industrial design sort of drawing where I use a lot of lines, crossing lines as well. I try to draw the lines a little bit slower, give it that little bit of a more cartoony effect. Not sure if I like it, not sure if I'm really good at controlling this sort of drawing. Let's see if I stick with it in the future, but I think the outcome for this one was quite okay. I'm sort of satisfied. This video I only wanted to do the line work. I wanted to make it a little bit slower so you can also see how I work on something like this. And then in the next video, which will be next week, you will also be able to see the coloring and rendering of this video. So another reason why I also pushed it to next week is because I will probably not be in the country, or I will not be at home. I'll be on vacation, and for that I still want to upload something. So look forward to, if you're interested in seeing how I color this. Anyways, this was it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, maybe hit that like button, and also consider subscribing if you want to see more stuff like this. You can also follow me on Instagram for regular drawing updates. And yeah, hope you have a great week, and see you folks next time. Bye bye.